In this section, we'll be importing our model into 123D Make to turn it into a cool, lightweight, cardboard egg drop canister. In order to accomplish this, we'll need to measure our model's dimensions, since the transfer from 123D Design doesn't always keep the correct dimensions. After we import the file, we'll have to type in the correct dimensions and select the size of cardboard we'll be using. Then, we get to select the type of construction technique for this model. We'll probably end up using the radial slice construction technique. From there, we can export our file as a PDF or as other two-dimensional formats that can be read and used by laser cutters and printers. After that, all you need to do is either print out the templates that you cut out of cardboard, or if you have access to a laser cutter, laser cut out your parts directly from the cardboard. Then, simply assemble your model according to the assembly steps automatically generated in 123D Make. Before we import our model, let me explain a little bit about 123D Make. The bar on the left side is empty right now because we don't have a model selected. Selecting a model is the first step. Once that has been selected, there will be another step and another. In this fashion, 123D Make will guide us through all the steps and options required to create this cardboard model. Alright, let's now import our STL. We select the import button, and then we navigate to our STL file we saved in the last section. Depending on the size of the STL file, this import could take a while. Now we have a view of our model. If you want to rotate it, we can use this little rotate button here to orient it correctly. It's hard to tell with this example, but it did just rotate the entire model. Now we need to select the size of sheets we'll be printing on, or the size of sheets your laser cutter can use. I'll select 8.5 by 14 as this is the maximum size my printer can print. The third dimension, the 0.1772 inches, that's the thickness of the cardboard. If you're going to use thicker or thinner cardboard, make sure to create a custom profile and enter in its own dimensions. Another important fact is that 123D Make doesn't always remember the model size when you first select it. As such, we need to know the dimensions of our model. Since in this case our model is a sphere, we just need to know the diameter. To do that, we'll go back to 123D Design and select the Measure tool. With the Measure tool, we can measure the diameter. I'll use the sketch geometry, and I'll click on one end, and then I'll click on the other. According to the Measure tool, our diameter is about 147 millimeters. I'll go ahead and write that down now. In 123D Make now, we need to enter in that dimension. So I'm going to enter in 147 millimeters and push enter. This also can take a second depending on the size of the file. Alright, next we get to select the construction technique. There's a lot of different construction techniques, but I think radial slices will work the best for this one. If you haven't explored them already, I suggest taking a minute to just go through all the options and see which one you think would work best. Now that we have a construction technique selected, we can edit the number of layers that our model will be made out of. It lags a little bit with this window open, so I'll close that. There we go. Now it'll load faster when I change these numbers. I honestly think I don't need that many for the horizontal supports, so I'll probably do 5 or maybe 6. That looks pretty good. Next, I can edit the radial count, the number of radial supports. I'll lower it a little bit to make it a little simpler and easier to assemble. The next step in 123D Make is the Slice Directions step. This step lets you determine where the radial axis is pointing for your slices. You can edit it by simply clicking and dragging this blue arrow here. I like it where it was, so I'm just going to go ahead and place it back. The next step is the Modify Form step. This is useful if you're experiencing issues with your models, such as if the model is too thin, or if you need to make it hollow, things like that. The three options are hollow, thicken, and shrink wrap. All three of these helpful options will modify your actual model to help slice it in 123D Make. We don't need any of these options because our model is looking pretty good right now. Alright, the next step is the assembly steps. In this step, 123D Make will show you how to assemble your model. If you start from the beginning just by clicking this over and pulling it over there, you can then click on the next part button. Notice how it highlights the piece you are on the sheet preview on the right side of your screen. Also notice that the part is labeled, and during the assembly steps, it actually tells you what part you need to add. The next step in 123D Make is the Get Plans step. You can tell Make to export the plans as either a PDF, an EPS, or a DXF file. All of these files are useful in their own way. If you're planning on printing out these templates, I would recommend the PDF format. If you're going to use a laser cutter, check with the operator to see what types of file formats you should save it as. To export this file, you'll actually have to log into an account. I'll use my Autodesk 123D account. But if you haven't signed up for one yet, you can also sign in with a Gmail, a Windows account, Facebook, and all the other listed acceptable accounts at the bottom. Now all that remains is printing out the templates, cutting out the cardboard, and assembling the model. Once more, 123D Make can help you out with the assembly steps. Now that we understand the basic steps to create an egg drop canister, I would like to show you a more advanced egg drop canister that takes advantage of more options in 123D Make in the next video.